Rights.
Hello. Welcome to Bragging
Hello.
Rights, episode 1.4?
Yeah.
Oh, 14. There we go.
We'll go with 1.4.
All right.
Yeah.
Back to normal, innit?
It is.
Yeah.
Was in Rovers have won, FC have lost.
Yeah.
Podcast starts.
Yeah.
No?
James with a big sigh.
Yep.
James-
No, I'm not sighing.
That was quite a happy side, that one, for him.
James and happy.
James admitting before we start recording that he's not prepared. Yeah, we're back to normal.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah. I have done my predictions about 3 minutes ago.
Not even that long
I
ago,
wouldn't even say it was
think.
3
Yeah.
minutes
Yeah.
ago.
Well, oh well. You had a good week?
Yeah. Not too bad.
Yeah.
Can't grumble.
Aside from rugby?
Yeah. I was just on about in general anyway.
Yeah.
Was in last week or this week? 'Cause it's Monday night, so
Well, Dean's not dying anymore. There's positives.
it's good to know.
Yeah. Dean's in a
Happy.
good mood. It's warm outside. None of us are wearing hoodies. We've got the air conditioning on.
I pegged the washing out.
You pegged what?
Pegged the washing out.
Okay.
I had to do that on Saturday.
This is a family-friendly chat.
Get
I was
your mind
most
out the
miffed.
gutters.
She started a new job and she left me a list of chores to do at home, and I'm like, blag my head.
I hope she doesn't
Tell me you
listen
can't read.
because I'm going to call him out. He's fuming about this. Fuming. She's got. We were walking down Chance after the stadium the other day, and he's walking down there, and he went, "I can't believe this. She's got a job, and she still expects me to do. Like, what happened to women in the 50s? Like,
I never said that.
all he was saying. He was. He's going mad.
Do you want one of them trad wives? That's what they call that.
I said
Of what?
40s,
Yeah, I
not
think it's-
50s.
Yeah.
I think
it
it's
is called
shortened for
trad
traditional
wives.
wife, and
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
trad wives. And it's like a bit of a trend where women want to be a trad wife, where they do stay at home all day and they do all the cooking and cleaning, and that they and I think they even dress a bit like they did in like
Louis
the 40s.
Theroux. He did a thing on it, didn't he, Louis Theroux? So.
No one can hear what you're saying. So we've just
Yeah,
gone
but
quiet.
this is a new podcast where we talk about things that are hard hitting and happening in the country right now.
Yeah.
This week it's trad wives. Next week it'll be the election.
It's the election today.
Yeah, that's why we'll talk about it next week.
Oh,
I
fair
don't know the
enough.
results, do I?
Well, no. I reckon the Liberals are going to win. They're the only ones that'll fight
Right,
fair
shut up.
against Trump.
Not getting into political conversation.
Why not?
We're never going to keep this podcast to an hour with starts like this.
Fair enough. Go on then. Well, it's on YouTube to start.
It is, isn't it?
Certainly is, pal.
Yeah.
Go on then.
I'm not trusting Jake's timings. I'm going off my own.
Have you got a clock? Good.
He started it about 15 minutes ago, but yeah, he's got one.
He'll be stood up pulling his hair out in a minute. You've had 15 minutes.
What's left of it, anyway. Yeah, I thought it was a very tired performance, but to be expected maybe after the sort of last month that we've had, 2 derbies, Wigan, a couple of injuries in there as well, so it did look very, very lethargic, but like I said, to be expected. But if someone had told me a few weeks ago we'd have been 8 from 9, I'd probably have laughed at them. Obviously, I predicted. Well, I didn't predict. I said we could be 8 from 8. Obviously, but to be 8 from 9 at this stage of the season, if you'd have told me that at the start of the season, I'd have laughed at you. I think.
It's a bit of a difficult one to decide what game I would swap out for a loss to take the Wigan as a win if it was a possibility, because you always want to lose to probably the best teams in the competition, and Wigan are proving they are definitely up there again. And not to jump into your section super quick, but I think Hull fans yesterday, if they was watching from their armchairs, might have been very frustrated at the commentary for the Hull game. They mentioned Rovers and Wigan being the top 2 teams repeatedly.
Yeah,
Honestly, it was getting annoying, even for a Rovers fan to sit and watch it.
That's always been a thing, though.
Yeah.
They always mention
They
it.
always mention the teams that are
But
doing
they don't
well.
need to just. That's another thing.
They
that
don't need
frustrates
to,
me,
but
yeah.
they do.
Concentrate on
do.
what's
They
on.
do.
On, yeah.
But
Focus on the 2 teams.
But my
yeah.
point on that being, if you go back and go, well, you don't want to have a loss early on in the season to Wakey or Cass, and you don't also want to lose any of the 2 derbies we've had. So when I go through the games, if there was going to be one loss, I'll
St.
take it
Helens, maybe?
against, well, Saints maybe, but I'd take it against Wigan just because I see it as a big sort of learning curve, and then hopefully it's something we can build on. And there was reasons why we lost that game, so not to jump on that too much, but if I could take one loss, I'm quite happy that it was the Wigan one.
Oh yeah, definitely, absolutely, definitely, absolutely. Someone about there, but yeah, top of the league. Like I've just said, 8 from 9, and we've got the 3rd best attack and the 2nd best defence in the competition. And the only reason we've got the 3rd best attack is because St Helens walloped Salford on that first game of the season. So we're not doing too bad, really, are we? So we can't
No,
really
absolutely
complain.
not. going to the game saying obviously we looked fatigued, it's something I spoke about last week, and then we had a chat about it that Dean, you asked if we was concerned and we didn't really know where we was. Obviously coming away with a victory makes it hard to say we're still concerned about that, but we've still got some tough weeks coming up. Can't say this week coming up is going to be tough, but we do have a semi-final to play next week, so that's a tough game in itself. So it's a slight concern. The one stat that really stood out to me pre-game, we know that we've won every game against Leeds since Peters came in charge. That's the stat they keep bringing up every time we play them. He hasn't lost to Leeds since he's been the KR coach. But what really got me was the last 3 fixtures that we played Leeds in, which were all last year, we've only won them by a max of 10 points. So I don't have the exact results written down, but every game has been 20-12, 24-18, something like that. We've only ever won them games quite
Within
close.
It's always been a close contest.
Yeah,
hasn't
and it's sort of almost been a bit of a sign of, I don't think we've really ever turned up against Leeds to play our best last season or this season. And I also think that Leeds are perhaps not really sure where they are. They're a very mid-table team at the minute. And I almost felt like overall the game went on to prove that in the end again. It showed exactly the same game that we saw 3 times last year. We ended up winning by between 1 and 2 scores.
Well, 1-1, it was 6 points in the end.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we'll just touch on the team selection. We obviously spoke about it in the group beforehand, and it was a bit confusing. Like, Batchelor on the wing, and then we was thinking why when we've got Kershaw, who's a seasoned winger, you know. Peters is a bit concerned of him being bashed about, as you said in the group, didn't you, Josh? So obviously it turned out he was on the opposite side to Hall, when possibly he would have been on the same side maybe. But yeah, it was a very odd decision, but again, it's come justified. Peters has come out smelling of roses again with his team selection.
I'm not sure on that one.
Aye.
I think the fact that both Leeds tries come down that side. No, I can't
But
say
we
he's come
also
out
scored
smelling.
2 tries at that side as
You
well.
did, but anyone was going to finish that last try off that Batchelor scored in the end. Anyone can really finish that try off. It was the defensively that was the worry looking at your team selection for
I don't
me.
know about anybody. He had 15, 20 yards to run and he's a second rower and he's up against an out-and-out winger.
I'll look at it a little bit of a different way.
And you could see the effort he was putting in
No,
to get up on Hiku's shoulder.
I agree
wasn't
with
he?
you, but I'll look at it a different way to what you've just said, Dee.
Okay.
Granted of how easy the trial was to score or not, we did score down that side. But also, they did only score them 2 tries.
They did.
So, in a full game, we pride ourselves as a team on our defence, and we've had that very well. And, you know, we started off up until a few weeks ago, we was averaging 7 points a game. So, we still finished that game out, regardless of some of our gripes about how we performed, which we'll get into shortly. We did still only concede 2 tries.
You did, but how I was looking at it was you played Leeds, who were, you said, a decent mid-table team. You wouldn't have got away with that against Wigan. Wigan would have absolutely punished you. The chance that an informed Wire would have done. And when it comes to the business end of the season, that's probably the way he's going to go for it again. He's not going to use Kershaw, he's going to use them because Kershaw won't be fresh and ready because he won't have been tested in that position.
Yes and no. He did say, Peter's comments did say that Kershaw's very close, so there is still a chance for him to come in the future. We're hopefully not going to be in that position again where we have both our first choice wingers.
But you might be,
missing,
that's the thing.
But we might be. But if that was a game against Wigan, Warrington, not Leeds, who knows what choices would have made. But I'm going to have to back Craig on this. He's making the right point. Peters has done us right again. We won the game.
I think coming out smelling a rose is a little
Well,
bit of a
we've
strong
come out
comment.
with the 2 points. Whichever way you look at it, we've come out with the 2 points with a mismatched outside back on the right edge. So at the end of the day, he's won. He's come up smelling the roses, as the saying goes. I don't mean that as in like it was a 5-star performance and it was brilliant. I mean,
I think there's other
we've got
factors
the
why
job
you
done.
won that game, not the
well,
team
yeah,
selection.
there will be. Obviously, it's not just hinged on that one thing.
No, but
Yeah.
we'll get into it later. But a conversation we had earlier about why I think you come out with a win in the end, and I don't think Peter's helped your team in that aspect.
But it's good, like we say, though, it's good to get these perspectives in it, like to see it from, because we see it as
You see it through your eyes, I
Through
see
our-
it through
yeah,
my eyes, and I'll
exactly,
see
yeah.
our game through a certain eyes.
Yeah,
and
exactly,
same with
yeah.
you,
Yeah,
so-
the way I'm trying to see that is almost take a leaf out of your guys' books recently of trying to find the positives. We have got some negatives about the game. We have got some gripes, some things that we didn't enjoy, but at the same time, we did win the game. We did score down that side. We did only concede 2 tries. So we have to try and look in the right and say, well, actually,
yeah, fair enough.
in the future, we're at round 9 now, going into round 10. At round 25, if that happens 5 more times, what do our players learn from that? Would that happen again? Would we be better at sticking on the edge? Whether it's a Warrington or a Wigan, we don't know. So taking the positives for me.
Yeah, and that second try especially was very good. Wasn't it? Like the sort of 1-2 pass that Handley and Lum played. So I think they'd have scored that against most sides, possibly. Most.
We'll never know.
Most, not all.
We'll never know.
Yeah, exactly. But so I just want to touch on something, Dean. I know this got your back up a bit in the group, didn't it? Look at that room. So I said on Friday that I thought we were making Leeds look good for vast periods of that game. And yes, it did come across as I was taking something away from Leeds, which wasn't my intention. I know it came across like that, so I do apologise. But I've watched it back, and I still do think we were very poor for large parts of that game, which allowed Leeds to play the way they were playing.
I think Leeds come with a game plan, and it took you a while to figure that game plan out. With the mixed match in the squad as well, which had taken some settling down. But I think you can't slight on Leeds because they've beaten Wigan at home. They must be doing something right, so it's not all just down to what other teams are doing wrong.
I only disagree with one thing you've said there, because I'm on a different page to Craig slightly, because I think we were quite poor across the board for patches of the game. And again, we've said we looked fatigued. I do think Leeds came with a clear plan. They attacked the sides, they attacked where we was weak, where we had a mismatch of players and players out of position. I don't think it took us a while to I can't remember what term you just said then. It took us a while to figure it out.
Yeah.
I disagree with that bit. I think we knew that's what they was going to do, and we knew that's what we was doing. I think it took us a time to adjust to it. I think it was a learning, and no, it's pedantic, it is, but it's an on-the-job thing of, right, we know they're going to attack our wings, they're going to attack our edges, we know they've got speed, we know we've got players out of position, and it's them players that are out of position figuring out who's going to cover what and learning after 20 minutes which way one player likes to step and seeing that Connor's going right every time and passing it and he's missing out the second row and going to the centre and so on.
Does that delayed drop-off ball and things like that,
he might not do that on the day, and I think that, yes, it's very pedantic, it's the same thing, but it was more of we was well aware that was happening and was going to happen, and then I think that it took us a while to adjust to it, and I also think that, to give us some credit overall, once we did figure it out, and also to Leeds' discredit, because they got their heads up their own arse, I believe, I think that they tried to protect a lead rather than try and go out and win. I think they were too involved in the niggle and the sort of grubbiness of the game to try and go on and win. But that combined with us figuring it out is what helped us push on to win.
That's fair.
Yeah, I agree with that. And it was a very ugly win, wasn't it? But I've said before, and you guys know that, like, you learn more about yourselves when you win like that. Under those circumstances, I don't know if you spoke about it just before we started or now, Dean, but I
called it a character win.
That was the one,
and we're 8 points down to 12 men. Yeah, because they got the penalty to make it 8 points at the red card, didn't they? Which I'm sure we'll get onto later. And it's basically we can go
10 minutes.
2 ways here. No one's expecting us to come back with 12 men, 8 points down away from home. But we can grab the game by the scruff of the neck, show them what we're made of, and lay down a marker.
I love the term character win, because I think it was. And I didn't have the time to go back and listen, but last season we won a gritty win away from home towards the back end of the season.
Castleford, I think. Something
like that. Castleford, sorry, not the back end, it's probably more midway I wanted, but we beat Castleford and was getting quite slated a lot for it, like Rovers want to be genuine title contenders and they want to go to grand finals, and I said at the time what I'll say now, nobody remembers these wins when it gets to October, because Wigan have these wins as well. Do you know, and that's saying about the best team in the comp and the team that was the winners, the champions last year. You go through their season, they don't blow every team away. They also have gritty wins where they win by 1 try, and they don't always go to these places. And Leeds aren't a poor team, so I'm not saying that, but they don't always go to these teams that are deemed to be poorer and smash them out the park. But when it comes to the end of the season, all that does matter is the 2 points on the league table and where you finish for the playoffs. And that's my sort of real positive take on it, that however it came about, we took the 2 points. When, in my opinion, as a team, we probably performed between 6 to 7 out of 10 total.
It's fair.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you can come away with wins out of those games, then you're going to be there or thereabouts, aren't you? And we're proving that we are there or thereabouts. So hopefully another, 2/3 of the season to go, and hopefully we'll still be there. But let's move on to the cards.
Can I mention one bit of grubbiness
You can.
before the cards, just because I think it's quite important to what's been included in the 3 cards we're going to talk about in the game. I felt there was a lot of physicality in the game. It's rugby league, we get that. I'm not being too on the nose, but I did think there was a lot of extra hands, a lot of elbows, a lot of pushing and shoving, and that's fine. The only one that irks me, and it's really annoyed me that it's not been brought up in front of a disciplinary panel, is Newman sort of striking with the head on the ground to Super Jack.
We wouldn't have seen that, would we, on the replay, if they didn't have the stoppage in play for one of the cards? Because they showed, you might not have seen this because you was at the game, but they only showed that replay when there was waiting for a decision with the referee or video referee and referee talking together on the pitch. So we had a breakage.
Kendall had to run to the other end of the pitch. To
No,
watch the
we
screen.
didn't get to see that bit because that wasn't even on the screen then. So we only got to see this through a stoppage in play, or we wouldn't have seen it.
And look, it's not a headbutt. I'm not calling it a headbutt, but what it is Broadbent's on his back on the floor, and Newman's trying for a quick play of the ball, but rather than trying to get up, he sort of does an extra sort of push in with the shoulder and the chest, and then an extra one with the head, doesn't he, and catches like head to head, forehead to forehead. So it is striking with the head, and then he's really confused as to why the penalty goes against him, because he actually loses the ball. And then players run in, they tap him on the head and so on. That's the end of it. I believe that's what happened. But what I'm frustrated at here is that hasn't gone in front of a disciplinary panel, which is deliberate foul
We're
play.
talking about the same one.
Does he not lose it? I'm thinking the Morg one, actually. That's different. This one, he was on Broadbent. My mistake. He don't lose it.
Right.
He does get up and play the ball. That's my mistake. But what I'm frustrated at there is, because it was only picked up by the cameras looking afterwards, it wasn't picked up by the refs and it wasn't picked up by the panel. So now that's an incident that's gone.
Yep.
Yet they've managed to find time for what we're going to talk about in a second, rubbish cards that then get chalked off at disciplinary. And I think if you want to
Which
protect
we've already
players,
seen this season,
and
much
you
to
want
Jimmy's chagrin over there.
yeah, and you want players to be protected. That's where you've got to call players out, and that them dirty sort of tactics sort of need to be pulled out of the game. But what I thought was important about it, for those that have managed to watch it live or watch it back on TV, is that was absolutely synonymous with how Leeds played on the night for me. And I think it's what cost them the game in the second half. I think that extra aggro and that extra trying to be physical cost
I think
them.
that is Leeds. Not just on Friday night.
That's them as a team.
That is them as a team. When you've got the likes of Newman and Bentley in your team.
Well, Bentley's no better, but yeah. Anyways, on to the cards. I just want to have a little rant about that.
Yeah, feel free. So I've watched these again just to make sure that I hadn't just gone, oh, that's not a Rovers player, that's a red card, or that's a Rovers player making that tackle. Well, it's not even a penalty. Do you know what I mean?
Quick question: how many times do you have to watch something before you can see it that way? Because you've got like the rosiest tinted glasses out of everyone, I think.
I think I watched them. There was a little clip on Reddit. It was only about 46 seconds long. I must have watched it about 6 times. Because it only shows like one angle of each tackle. So it wasn't
To
brilliant.
be fair, then you watch it a lot less than the video refs watch it. Then
Well,
don't you?
yeah, to be fair. So we'll start off with the first one, which was Sinfield, who was given a yellow. For me, that's a red.
Out the three, the
Out of
worst
the
one.
three.
It was
That's
the worst one.
But-
I'll give you. I've got my reasons in a minute. but
I
just
agree
wanted
with
to-
the red, but forgive me for. I know you've said let's try and separate them and talk about the first one, but it's a red in the context of what's happened with the other two. If that's the only challenge in the game, I'm quite happy that's a yellow. And I did see a comment online, it was Reddit as well, about I don't think the ref had the bottle to do it so early in the game. And then somebody had said, that's ridiculous.
That was my Bradford fans
Honestly,
comment.
this is why people don't like you. Amongst many other things.
Just wait till we get to the all section. You're really not going to like me. Please take that, because I won't
No,
go out
go
of point.
on,
No,
you're all right.
just saying that I think the ref's not had the bottle to do it because it's so early in the game. And a comment to come back saying like that's not how it works. If it's foul play and it's head high, it's wrong.
I don't like the fact that it would be a red if it was given a red, but in the context of everything that's happened, it's the worst one, and it is a red.
So,
and
but-
no matter what happened, how many minutes have gone, 10, 15, 75, it doesn't matter. If that is by the law a red card, you give it as a red card.
Yeah, so I'll give you my reasons as for why I think this was a red and not a yellow. just to start off with, Kendall said there's no mitigation. So that's
No, I
one.
think he does save his
No,
mitigation.
he said it's low level force, but there's no mitigation.
Is that what he says?
That's
no
what he
force,
says, yeah.
okay.
Craig's watched it 6 times.
So
On Reddit, which has no sound. Yeah.
it does. It was a
Joke,
Sky
I'm
Sports.
joking. I'm joking.
Don't get my back up. I'm on a roll. So it's an upright tackle. It's not like the player's falling. He's got every opportunity to wrap his arms, which he does not do. And it's a shoulder straight to the head. Maybe the only slight mitigation is the fact that Oledski's tackled him milliseconds before, and it sort of adjusted Morg's angle very slightly. And that's the only reason I can think of that it could possibly be a yellow and not a red.
Mitigating for me.
My thing on that is he's gone right in the head. I wouldn't have been against a red card, of course. I'm watching Rovers play. It would have given us an advantage. I would have been happy with the yellow just because I think it's a physical sport, and we've got the same problem with all these cards like we've got in the entire season. We've just got no consistency over refereeing decisions and video ref decisions. What I don't like about it particularly, and why I'm shocked he gave mitigation down to a yellow, is the third man in. And when you're the third man into a tackle, it's not always the same reason, but it's often for the same reason. The player's either making ground because two men aren't able to get him down, you're going in to complete it, and often you're actually able to go in with a lot of force because the player's already slowed down. So you're able to go in and give that extra clout and get that finish to the run.
third person normally goes in to wrap the legs
And
Yes.
win the wrestle.
Took the words out of my mouth.
because clearly the two people already in the tackle can't make it. So I didn't get it. Look, I don't think it's a red card. I don't like it's a yellow card, but this is the game we've got now, and
You
it
don't
is
like
what
it's
it
a
is.
yellow card, deliberately putting your shoulder into someone's face that's held upright in a tackle.
I think yellow
Has to be
should have been a
punished.
yellow.
Yeah, but I'm a bit more old school where that's a slap on the wrist and a penalty, and yeah,
Joey John style, as we've seen. Cause
yeah.
Put it on
you've watched
report.
it anyway.
Put it on report,
Probably on.
crack on.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is a yellow card nowadays. It is a red card nowadays. By
Well,
the
if Cuss
rules.
was a red card, that's
but-
a red all day long.
Oh, out of the four of them, that was, even including Cuss, that was
Yeah.
the worst one.
I agree wholeheartedly. On to Sue. For me, it's a yellow at West, and that's not just Rovers glasses, and again, I'll give you my reasons as for why. So Lisoni is falling. He's roughly 3 feet away from the ground. He's a big guy, he's 6'4", 6'5", whatever. 150 kilos, maybe more. There wasn't an attempt to wrap from Sue, which, fair enough. But it's the bicep that makes contact and not the shoulder. But, again, how do you wrap?
How
when
do you
somebody's
wrap when
falling?
someone's at your shins?
But he has made direct contact with the head, so that's why for me it is a yellow.
What's he supposed to do? Get on his hands
I
and
don't
knees and
even
wait
think
for him
it
to
is.
come?
Yeah, he's made direct contact with the head, but how close was he? You know, at the point he started falling, you know, how quick did it all happen? There's no way in the world that a man as big as Sue can change the way that he stood, move his body around that fast. He just can't do it. Like, for me, at best, put it on report and crack on.
Fair.
I'm not so much against it being penalised as it should be. You've made contact to the head, it's accidental. The red card not only seemed ridiculous at the time because of what you've just said, the player was falling. I agree. Sue doesn't come out of it looking too great because it doesn't look like he's attempting to wrap as such, but there's so many mitigating circumstances. Everyone's up in arms really because a red seems incredibly harsh, and also given what we'd seen in the first half. And if we jump on to what's happened at the disciplinary earlier today, is that Sue has got no further action, showing that not that we can trust what disciplinary is saying because they get things wrong all the time, but almost admitting that not that the red was wrong, but admitting that that's enough punishment, which almost makes it feel as though they are saying something was wrong.
No, I think if they were saying that the red was wrong, I think they have fundamentally come out and said the red was wrong, because not only has he not got any further punishment, he's not been charged at all.
Right,
nothing.
Which makes it feel as though they are almost admitting they've made a mistake. But if we look at what's happened with the first tackle with Sinfield, he's got points. And they gave it a yellow card, so it's almost like the disciplinary review board is turning around and saying, we got this one a bit wrong, or we need to make sure he gets further punishment because it's bad, but the Sue one's fine. And it just smacks of everything that's wrong with the sport. They can't get a consistent decision, and that could hinge the result of that game. The fact that we went on to win and was able to do so well with 12 men is actually a credit to us against that decision, because we easily could have fallen over. And that could be it wouldn't be a season-changing result for us, but it can be a game-changing result and 2 points lost for us.
To give credit to the RFL, though, they have come out basically, like you've said, and said, look, it was a mistake. And you can't change it because it's done, but they've took ownership of that, which is something the RFL haven't done in the past. And they've done it last week, possibly with Cust, and then this week with Sue.
How many times though can you come out and say sorry? You can't keep doing it. Whatever's happening is ruining the game.
No, but it's a start. That's what I'm getting.
But they've done it before. They apologised about the new Brown red card last year, and yeah, but we're still getting these ridiculous. Not as ridiculous as that, but we're still getting these ridiculous decisions. It's an empty sorry for me.
I know it's slowed the game down. Sorry, Jim.
The thing is, for me, it's like that. You can't just keep saying sorry. It's not just a case of saying sorry. You lost a man, and that meant that you ended up losing a game by either just in general or by more points than you would have. Like in our case with Warrington, we were probably going to lose last year anyway, but New Brown going off was ridiculous. It's not just that, it's the fact that you then have 12 other players on a field running their bodies ragged for however long they've got to play. You know, they talk about player welfare, all this, all that. Like, how hard is it? We've played down to 12 men before at amateur level. Think how bloody hard it is at professional level when you've got people running at you that are training full time every day. You know, it's ridiculous to expect that, you know, you send a player off, you get 12 players for the rest of the game, and that your body's just going to be fine with that. It's not. I think, for me, they need to bring in something else, and I hate to say the bunker, but I genuinely think every single red card decision should be reviewed after the player's gone off, and give the player an opportunity, give the referees, the video referees or whoever, an opportunity to say, you know what, we cocked up there, put him back on.
That's it. I want to adopt what we're doing in rugby union now, where yellow cards can be upgraded to red cards. Yep. So therefore, we don't slow the pace of the game down. What happened with Sinfield at the start of the game in the opening 5 minutes, it can be sin-binned. The bunker or the refs in the equivalent of the bunker can review what's going on, and then they can turn around and say, this is upgraded to a red card, that player's not coming back on. Therefore, not because it takes the power out of the referees, they can still give red cards when necessary, but it means that when there is that element of doubt, it's not left in a split-second decision for a man that's on the field that's also running around for 80 minutes.
It means the decision will come quicker. There you go, that's a yellow, get off.
It's foul play, it's a yellow card,
and
go
then
sit down for 10 minutes.
The play carries on, so the fans aren't left waiting for, 5 minutes or however long it takes, and then, you turn around at the end of it and say, we've reviewed this while play's carried on, people have still been enjoying the day, he's coming on or he's not coming back on. Like, it's the way that it's working at the minute, just, it ain't working, is it?
Yeah, agree. Do you want to move on to the last one?
Yeah, finally, this probably might shock you a little bit. I've got penalty at West for Hanley.
I agree.
Yeah.
The world's going to end.
Completely agree.
Oh, the world's going to end.
I can't believe
Has he got points for it?
Three
He
match
got
points
three.
for it.
Two. No, he got two.
Oh, he got two, didn't he?
Two.
Yeah, Sinfield got 3 because he didn't get red carded, but they've taken into account the fact that Hanley went off, and they've reduced the points because he's already been punished for receiving the red.
What I don't get about that situation is, well, I do get it, but on all the replays in slow motion and the screenshots, it looks really bad. It's shoulder to the head again.
Because they slow everything down.
But that's one of the ones that you can't really get the true nature of what's happened in that tackle without watching the 5 minutes, the 5 seconds beforehand to see how that play builds up. And it is foul play, it's a penalty. Yep. It's Rovers' ball, it's a penalty. There's not even a card involved there for me. The red card for me, just that shouts everything when people say what's wrong with reffing in this sport. He's tried to even the game up. How can you defend it when they've literally done it in front of your eyes? It was unfair.
There's 2 mitigating circumstances on this one for me. The first one, if you play that back full speed, how quick does Morg drop height whilst Hanley's already going in for the tackle? No, I'm not. Morg drops height, right? And secondly, Morg's got form. The kid likes eating shoulders. Like, it's not the other player's fault. If he wants to chew on a shoulder...
Come on, you did blame Morg for Cust's red card last week.
I just did not realise how racist Jimmy was against French people.
Are they even real people?
I did see a comment online from a Leeds fan, and he said Morg intentionally dropped to win a penalty.
No, you didn't.
No,
he didn't intentionally do it, but he did drop height.
He did, but he didn't do it. I wouldn't say he did it deliberately to win a penalty.
No.
The
I'd like to
nine-stone,
think he didn't.
the
anyway.
9-stone wet through fullback goes around throwing his face into 15-stone men, hoping for penalties and not worried about his safety. Give over.
I mean, that's quite true, to be fair.
No, we're running up to all
Sure,
the time. We're going to run over anyways.
We already have.
8 minutes over.
Already, Jesus.
Yeah. But yeah, the Bradford
Just take
fan
it
who
off our
called,
game.
My name is Matt on Reddit, and his exact quote was, "Timing plays a part in these decisions. Giving a red after 4 minutes puts more pressure on a referee as opposed to giving one on 72 minutes."
But I'm not saying it's not completely relevant, but if it's foul play, it's foul play. If it's a yellow card or a red card,
Yeah,
it's
but
yellow
how
card or
many
red
times
card.
have we seen it where early on they've give it as a yellow?
Should bring Ganson back, shouldn't they?
If
Yeah.
you've
He
worked
was
your way
shy
up,
bringing a red card out
you've-
after 2 seconds.
you've worked your way up to that level of refereeing, that shouldn't even come into play.
It shouldn't, but we've seen time.
I'm
and
not
time
saying it
again.
doesn't,
No, yeah.
but it shouldn't.
Anyway, so yeah, good to win ugly.
2 shout-outs for me on the ugly win. People I think shouting out. Have you got anyone?
Just Broadbent. You
Yeah,
could see
number
what
one, Super
You
Jack.
could see what it meant to him to get one over on Leeds and to score 2. So that was it for
I've
me.
long been thinking about who's the most influential player in our team if we was to lose them, and we've seen it obviously when Mikey's not there. But we are able to rally round during the season for one game and make and step up on other people. I've always said that Minchella is that person. If we was to lose Minnie, our attacking flow would be gone. I actually start to think now that someone like Jack, who's so versatile, our season would be very different about what he's done, not just on Friday night, but throughout this season. The spots he's filled, the way he's played, and the way he's stepped up to be a Super League top-level player. Before he joined us, I didn't even think he was Super League quality.
I said this a couple of weeks back. I compared him to Rich Whiting, and he is very much that for you.
Hang on, we're trying to praise him.
Oh, come off
I
it.
like Stills.
Come off it.
Leave him alone.
Because it don't matter where you've got a gap, put him in, does the job. Put him in, does
He
the job.
does.
And that is invaluable.
And his head could have dropped, couldn't it, when he got dropped for Morg coming in. When he was playing full back and he was playing out of his skin, he got dropped because Morg was available. His head could have dropped.
I just see it as a sign of what's good about our team, that people understand the roles. Like, we talk about Kershaw not being picked, we speak about when is Richardson going to get a go, but they're still sticking around. But we do it with our first team starting players. Luckily, for the first time, I think this year, got to play in the first half. He knows where his role is, he knows when he comes on. These players buy into the team culture and the ethic of what we're all about. And I think that still works. And then, just to mention it, I don't think it's right that Mikey's in Team of the Week. I know he was the match winner for us. His 40-20 was amazing. And, you know, he did score the last try. But him and Broadbent are in the Super League Team of the Week, the official one. We've just found out. And I think, yeah, at the end of the day, he did pull us in for another victory and showed his Man of Steel quality. Whether it was his best performance ever, no. Did we win that game and was he influential in winning it? Absolutely so. He just deserved the tap.
Who was
for
the
that.
other half?
French.
Oh,
Got to
fair.
be French on it.
I was going to say, if Lewis got another French, then that'd be a weird decision. But
Yeah, that's it from us. Just happy with where we are at the moment.
Absolutely.
think
I would
that
be if
sums
I
up.
was top of the league and all.
Well, yeah.
Go on then, what's next, Susie? Go on, press the button then. We've got 2 spectators now. Are we going? Yeah, give me your thumbs up then. Oh, God. So podcast sponsor is Comscaf. They're the sponsor for the rest of the year, which makes my life nice and easy. So yeah, if you are looking for any sort of commercial scaffolding, they've got plenty of experience, 30 plus years experience, delivering excellent service, specialising in commercial scaffolding. They operate nationwide as well, so for anyone that's listening that's not in Hull, give them a call, check out their website, comscaf.co.uk, and you can see jobs that they've done, or give them a call, 01482 782 181.
Are they any good at getting pigeons off roofs?
No, but Tom O'Wex, he has got a drone, and he'll blow it off, won't he? He's blowing off...
He wouldn't be able to find it because the camera doesn't work.
confetti on the light fittings up here, he's just blowing it off.
If you ring Ecolab, they bring a hawk. They have a guy that has a hawk, and that goes around and it kills all the pigeons inside and outside.
Not if you need scaffolding. If you need scaffolding, don't ring Ecolab. If you need scaffolding, ring Comscaf. But if you've got a random pigeon you want rid of, ring Ecolab.
Does it work for Susan's?
Yeah, I'd love to get Susan chased by an hawk. Be class, that, wouldn't it? That could be, if he loses, that could be his forfeit. Just set a hawk on him.
Oh, take him to a pigeon fancier or whatever they're called.
It doesn't have to be rugby related, this forfeit, does it?
No,
That can be
definitely
anything.
not.
Yeah. We're just making work a shift here for free.
Beds and social anxiety
I say we do it then.
Massive crowd in a cage full of pigeons.
Get him chased by a hawk on the pitch at Newcastle next year at Magic.
Do it in Vegas, that'd be even better. They'd lap that up.
Oh, God.
Well,
Is there
swim.
anything? Like,
Jesus Christ.
Makes sense why I don't like birds. You're scared of flying.
Yeah, fair.
Adds up, doesn't it?
Wow. Anyway, are we
Anyway,
back
so-
on screen?
Over-
Because you've not
over
given
to
me a
you
thumbs
guys.
up or anything. You are worst producer ever. Do either of you two want a job? Oh, fair enough. Right, let's talk about Hull. You're the sensible one, so you can start as always.
Not often I get called that.
But out of the two of you is not wrong.
Yeah, it's not hard, is it?
Classic Hufflepuff.
Classic what?
All I could think of when he said he didn't like birds then was he's not going to fly on Buckbeak. Inside joke, sorry viewers. Performance that realistically was always going to happen at the back end of this run of four, would you say?
Yeah.
Well, not always going to happen, but it didn't surprise me how the game panned out.
Do you know what? I was more surprised at how we managed to stick in it in the first half than I was about how we fell apart in the second.
No, I wouldn't say we fell apart in the second. I don't think we looked out of sorts all game. We linked a few good players together, and that was Price's try. Come to that. Yes, we had the Barron's try, which was a lovely kick from Caesar, but in the build-up play, it was all very disjointed. Everything looked very disjointed for most of the game.
That last play that led to Price's try was really good, really neat.
Yep.
But like you said, the lead up to all of that was scruffy. The lead up, even getting the kick away to get across to Barron for his try was really scruffy. Barron's leap to get the ball out of the air was I don't know
the
how
kick
he
itself
got
was
that
beautiful,
high, like-
but the build-up play was just.
Yeah.
It just wasn't Hull from this year, and you could tell pretty early on with. I think we got pushed into touch 4 times.
From far in as well, like it wasn't even like we were like right
10,
near the
10,
edge.
15
It was
metres in.
No,
yeah.
Seen
it
a
was-
lot of complaints online about that.
Yeah, and
About changing the rulings on that.
but the foot into touch after Price's try from the kick-off, you got Asiata, poor passes, Caesar, poor passes,
Would you-
Hardacre,
stop.
Can I just make a quick comment? Sorry, because just before you move on,
If I
past
can't
too
interrupt
far,
him, you can't
I
interrupt
definitely
him.
can. He always jumps on the Rovers bit. You said you had a bit of a disagreement there between. I think you thought you had a better first half, and you was pleased how the first half.
I wouldn't say I was pleased.
Okay, but you dropped off in the second, and you said you disagreed.
Yeah.
Last week we was talking about Pete's comments about Wigan as a team, and he was complimenting Rovers for starting quick, but he said that Wigan grew into games.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I saw on Sunday afternoon.
I don't think Wigan grew into the game. Wigan just waved the magic wand when they needed and wanted to, and scored some tries.
Nah, you made errors and mistakes and left gaps, and they went through them.
No, that's what I mean.
not waving a magic wand.
No, Wigan decided to turn it on when they wanted to.
Okay, that's fair.
Wigan were pretty level all the way through. They wasn't perfect. They didn't play their best game. I'm sure Pete would agree on that. I don't think Wigan was anywhere near the best, but they just switched on pretty much when they felt like it, and they scored some lovely tries, and we just couldn't really live with them. But and I don't want to sound a bit like Craig, where we didn't turn up and it was all Wigan. But
I thought we meant we didn't look good, to be fair.
I don't want to say it, but
In the context of
a
the
lot
way-
of sorry, Craig, a lot of
you're right.
uncharacteristic mistakes from us, like Caesar, Hardacre, and even the young lads as well who don't. Yes, they've had a few errors in them this season, but everyone seemed to have a couple of errors in them on Sunday.
I think the main one for me, you mentioned him earlier, you didn't mention him then, and it links into what Josh just said. If you lost Mini, your attack kind of falls apart, in your opinion. For me, Asiata he just wasn't on it, and you could tell. Like, there was just uncharacteristic mistakes from him. I'm not saying he had the worst game, he wasn't the worst player on the field, but you could tell that he was off. And that just, for me, it stemmed from there. It flowed from there. Because if he's off, Caesar's off. And if Caesar's off,
I was going to say,
next
not,
man,
it's not about picking him out specifically, because I think you had a few players. I think Caesar had a very poor game.
Yep.
I think Asiata did, which is unfortunate. I also think someone that's a bit of a talisman for you in Lytton had a poor game. And I think that when it becomes almost like it spreads throughout the entire team, and like you said, everyone's making errors.
Yeah.
It's so hard to come back from.
And like I say, I'm not pinning, by all means, not pinning the blame on Asiata having a bad game. But if Litton had a bad game in isolation, and the rest of the team are performing, you can kind of get away with that. If Asiata has a bad game or an off day, it spreads.
He's so important. He links everything in that middle of that pitch. He links everything together for us.
From an old fan's perspective, was it a case of, obviously Asiata's not playing as well as he has done this season? Was everybody else trying to go up a gear, up another level to...
No, I won't say everyone was trying to go. I just think we just look shattered. We've had a run of 4 very big games against last season's top 3. We've had you guys twice, we've had Wigan and Warrington, and you lot are our fight, and I don't want to use that as an excuse, but I still think we can come away from these 4 games with our heads held high, showing we can compete for parts of the game against the bigger 3, shall we say, but it took its toll in the end.
Because we spoke about this pre-pod, just to put people listening and watching into context about where you are as a team and how pleased you are.
Yeah.
You know, if you end up in that, you know, I'd seen a comment online about Saints, Leeds and Hull being many people's favourites to be sort of the 4th, 5th and 6th team at the end of the year, and hopefully around there, and they're a very similar team and they expect close battles. My
5th, 6th and 7th.
5th, 6th, 7th, yeah, sorry, I didn't mean that way, but around that area, mid-table team, and that's great, and it's not where we expect it to be.
That's brilliant to hear for us, that we're in that conversation.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
I'm going to get some hate for this.
Of course you are.
Right?
Nothing new.
But exactly, because you're building,
Yep.
and you don't build over one cycle, over one season, it's 2 or 3, and you've got to look at the end of the season and see where your weak links are. And this is now, you've played Rovers and Wigan, 3 games, Rovers twice, Wigan once, who are sort of 1 and 2 in the league.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, people like Caesar have failed to turn up. So, a man who's 35, end of the season, right? Price, can't tackle, but he's great going forward. Right. There's stuff to work on.
We all know Caesar's been brought in to do a job, and that job is not to be leading us at the top of the league in 2 or 3 years' time where we want to be. Caesar's job is to help rebuild us to that point.
And that's my point. I think that's what you're saying, realistic viewpoint. Actually, this isn't too bad, but if he's not going to turn up in like the Wigan game, he's going to have a bad turn up. You can't expect anything else, can you?
I won't say he didn't turn.
Yeah, I think it's really harsh to say he didn't turn up.
He's on the pitch, if that's what you mean.
Was he?
I'm sure.
Don't turn into Josh. Don't try and be something you're not.
Sorry.
A nice guy with solid points of view.
I stand corrected.
Sales all.
No, I do. I think it is really harsh to say he didn't turn up. I think
I don't want to have a big dig on us as well, because, like, yes, we got what was it, 38-12 in the end, and we're going to do a lot worse to a lot of teams this season. So I can't jump on us too much. Yes, we got beat. We got well beat. We look tired. We look shattered. But I think that's a result of what's gone on beforehand. So I'm just hoping. I know we're jumping forward, but I'm hoping we can get a win this weekend, because it's not a given. It's definitely, they're going to win at some point, and they're going to look at us, a tired old team, and think, "Hang on, we can get something here." But then we've got a week. We've got a week's rest, 2 weeks rest after that, and that's massive for us now. We need that rest.
I agree. Having slated you a bit, to your credit, you're the same as us. You haven't had that break. Wigan did. You beat them in the cup and knocked them out. Yeah. They got that time off. We had to play them off the back of a fortnight of rest. So, and then you've now got them not only when they've been able to piece around. Their injury crisis is nothing like yours, so they've been able to move around. 2 big players
back on Sunday
and
as well.
The words out of my mouth. The 2 players they brought back. I ain't got a pen to throw like Craig does, but
you've got an habit. Just launch that.
I'm not throwing that.
Why work all
the people that they brought back in are so influential to them as well. So I think to credit to you to what you did do on the day and how it did end up, that was pretty much a full strength Wigan team that you played.
Pretty much, yeah, it was, wasn't it?
Yeah, and we had
a makeshift back row again. Sorry. Don't throw it.
Can I ask you a question on that? I know I've spoken quite a bit on the old bit, but that's me, innit?
Now you.
Comment online that I didn't agree with, but I thought I'd mention.
Did you write it?
No, I don't. Unlike some people, I don't make comments online. It just says that this looks like the team last year. It was from a Hull fan.
What?
This looks like the same. And I thought,
That's bang out of
that's a
order.
very bitter person.
You know what that is?
Y-
That's a fan of a side who have done well, and then they've had a little fall off,
And they're
and
expecting too much.
and the world's crumbling.
I think they're expecting
Yeah,
too much.
absolutely.
I don't know who wrote it, and I don't want to cause controversy or anything like that.
Just stretching.
But all I can think of is that that's written by someone that don't pay any attention or has never played the game.
I presumed it was someone that wasn't at the game because there was commenting online during the game. So I kind of took it as a sense as well that it was someone that probably isn't the biggest Hull fan because they probably are still in that mindset of what's gone on.
It's
I mean,
night
if you're
and day.
listening, feel free to get in touch and tell Josh.
Yeah,
that he was
or
there,
me.
or-
Like, you know, like if anyone that understands the game and watches the games closely and pays any attention whatsoever, it is night and day. Even that loss, you put that loss against pretty much any fixture that we played in last season, it is night and day how much better we are as a squad, not just individual players, but as a team, as a cohesive unit. How much improvement we've made compared to any fixture last year.
Someone
I
just
don't
fishing
get
for
it.
bite.
Yeah,
just
I don't
fishing
get it.
for a bite. That's all.
Well,
it
he's
is.
got
If
one.
it wasn't a Hull fan, I wouldn't have brought it up. That's why I wanted to see
No,
your
fair
thoughts.
enough.
Because I didn't agree with it. Wanted to
Was
get
it
your
wait
voice
there?
in,
Was
but-
it one of them old fans that's got like an account for Hull, an account for Rovers, an account for Salford, and
That
one of
Kieran,
them?
is it?
So
on Twitter.
there was a couple of decisions that were made during the game, and I want to get your points of view on them. No,
You're not giving him. He's scared of the backlash.
I'll give you anything you want.
no, I pretty
Here's a
much. Well, I'll tell you what mine is after what.
Tell
I'm
us
not
what the
bothered.
points have and I'll tell you.
The two Briscoe obstruction, not obstruction, and not so much the decision with the Miski try, but how long it took to get to that.
Has it been made yet?
We had a game that kicked off at 3:00. It finished after 5 p.m.
That's unreal.
There was, for me, I think both decisions were fine. The obstruction, I think Briscoe
Yeah.
bad reads in defence and was looking for
One
it.
was, one
but-
wasn't for me.
But at the end of the day, some in the past they've been given as obstruction. So yeah, I don't know what your guys' opinions on.
As I've just said, for me, one of them it was an awful defensive read, and he stepped to
The
his
second
left.
one.
The
No, the
first one.
first one.
Yeah.
The second one, he can feel aggrieved by, I think.
I would have genuinely said the other way around. I watched the second one back, and Semba would have gone past him, but Briscoe's the one that.
Outside shoulder, the second one.
But Briscoe's the one that just stuck his arm out. Like I actually agree with both.
I've got no arguments with both, but I've seen arguments. I've
Oh,
seen
yeah,
people
you'll
trying to
see
argue
arguments
about
You're
all the
always
way,
going to
like-
get him, aren't you?
like
Yeah.
say a couple of weeks ago, and I won't get this exactly right, but we was having a conversation and you said, oh, so bad defence is rewarded now, and it was a try that was disallowed for something very similar to what Briscoe did. So again, the consistency with the referees and decisions that are made, we ain't getting it. So for me, I'm not bothered that the tries, I am bothered the tries were given, but it was the right decision ultimately. But 1 week it is, 1 week it in.
Another thing that annoys me, obviously, we've spoken about the length of time on decisions, which we'll get onto in a second. But why don't the video refs have control of the video?
That takes
Is
up
there a
half the
reason
time.
behind that? Yeah, because he's going, can I go to this camera? And then they
So
put it
the-
onto a different camera. And
The only thing I can think of is, because if you look at, say, I don't know what it's called, the bunker or whatever it is in the Premier League, like the ref sits there and he's got all the controls in front of him. Like, my understanding is that that's all done at Sky, like whether that's like in London or
St.
wherever
George's
it's all
Park,
done.
I think, isn't it?
No, the Premier League one, no, it's somewhere else. But
Is it?
Yeah,
Stockley
Stockley.
Park, yeah.
Stockley Park,
But
that's it.
with the
I knew it was a
RFL,
park.
like, we ain't got the money to spend on a facility like that, so it's Sky that's got all the equipment. And imagine bringing all that equipment to every single
But
game.
the video ref is there. The video ref must be nearby to be able to press the buttons and be linked up to
Why
the
don't the video
comms
ref
and-
go to if it's controlled at Sky? Why don't the video ref go to Sky?
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
They don't have to be at the game.
Yeah.
and
I mean,
then at
Phil's
least
not
he's in.
an active ref now, is he, as such?
It is annoying. I know what you mean. It's annoying. It's like, oh, can you go to this camera? Can you go to this
Yeah.
camera? Can you go to this camera? Whereas in the Premier League, it's like, bosh, bosh, bosh. I'm looking at whatever camera I want to look at.
Still take forever.
I get
as well,
that,
though.
but Premier League gets 10 billion a season off of Sky or whatever it is, whereas we get 25 million. Like,
yeah, but there must be some workaround. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, maybe there is. Maybe there is a better option.
And I'd like to see it sort of looked at maybe further
I'd
down
like
the
to see
line.
us leave Sky, to be honest, but...
Well,
It's
yeah.
a discussion for another day, I reckon.
Yeah,
isn't it?
we ain't got time for that now. But yeah, the decision I made on the Miski try, which was a try, it was the correct decision.
Yep.
But like you just said, Dean, it was the amount of time it took to get to that decision. So for me, you could see on maybe 2 or 3 looks that was a try.
I could see on my phone. I straight away on the Sky Sports app on my phone in the ground, and I'm like, because obviously we've got that pixelated screen.
Yeah,
haven't
we haven't got screens. Good screens, have we?
And I'm
So-
watching on my phone. I ain't got a plus size phone or anything. It's just a regular size phone. And I saw after like you said, 2 or 3 attempts. I'm like, yeah, it's a try.
You
And
could
then he
see
carried on for another 4 minutes.
where he'd got the ball down, and then he flicked to the camera behind, could see that he was still up, and then he rewound that one and watched it, and his legs were always up, and then he could see the ball was down.
Do you know the one
30
that
seconds.
bugged
and
me
he
more
could've
than
done
any of them, and it meant nothing in the grand scheme of things, was the last try. Barron trying to pass the ball we're chasing the game, fair enough. I thought Cuss actually had hold of the ball, and then it was still 2-on-1, but he said Wardle caught the ball.
Yeah, it looked like a 2-on-1 strip.
I don't know if I'm just...
Like you say,
Black
nothing
and
in
white
the grand
spectrum,
scheme
I
of
don't
things.
know.
on that one,
But no one's mentioned it, and I
Yeah.
thought in the ground, Cust had the ball before the camera angle showed from the corner.
Add into the fact that the final pass was forward as well.
But
I'd seen some comments online about what you were just talking about the video refs and the timings and things. And one of the suggestions that you've just made is what someone had said about why can't the video ref have control of the cameras. So I know that's an active discussion between fans, not between the powers that be. The second point relating to the Miski try, to have my input on it, is somebody suggested the ref makes a decision. I would like that decision to stand after a certain time. So I want to put the video refs on the clock.
The problem with that is,
No,
how long is it before people start moaning about the fact that the video ref didn't properly review it and that the decision was wrong?
Jimmy, that's exactly what I was about to say.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Do you want to throw that?
No. I was just
Oh,
going
go
to
on,
say
it'll make me feel
that is the
better.
first thing that I thought, that you can't please everybody, and we keep trying, and sometimes we, particularly as four, can be quite negative about some of the things because they relate to our teams and they happen. At the end of the day, I still believe, and I know I've said in the past that I wouldn't mind if we got video refs, just went for on-field decisions, but the fact we've got them is a benefit, and we do get frustrated by them, we do feel aggrieved sometimes, but I do think that 80% of the time the video ref is helpful, and as many times as it helps you win a game, it helps you lose a game.
Yeah. I think if anything, and we've said it before, and we'll keep saying it until they stop it, it's the on-field decision that slows everything down, because genuinely, I think if the referee just goes to the screen and says, is that a try?
Is there any reason I can't watch?
Yeah, is there any reason why?
Like in
I don't
Union.
think Thaler watches that for half as long. But because he has to fundamentally prove that the referee made a wrong decision, he has to talk through it, and he talked through it in so much detail. Honestly, it was like having a conversation with Rachel's mum. Sorry, Lynn. But do you know what I mean? It was just carrying on. I'm just like, just get rid. If you get rid of that on-field decision, he doesn't have to watch it that long. That's the one quick and dirty, simple change that we can make that just fixes everything. So,
I think he agrees.
Don't fix everything, but it fixes a bit.
lot. Yeah.
I love the fact that the listeners won't know what was going on then, so you've just pointed to the
Pigeon
sky.
walking, metal roof.
God agrees.
One injury of, well, not really of note. He seems okay. Could have come back on. Herman picked up a sternum knock.
The Herminator.
Moving on.
I think Wigan did very similar to what Rovers did, not to make it about that, but I think he was well contained. And I know he had an injury, he wanted to come back on, but he was well contained. He made 0 offloads, which is like...
I picked up on this during the game. He was getting his nose through quite a lot of tackles, but for the first time this season, there wasn't people busting a gut to get around him. I know we had a bit of success around the ruck area with Price earlier on, making a few breaks. I think Burrow did as well. But there didn't seem to be the support play, and I don't know if that comes down to, again, the fatigue in the team.
Quite possible.
But yeah, he looked tired as well.
I noted it was
along with
only the
everybody
third time
else.
this year he'd not made over 100 metres.
I think he was up 1 or 2
It was
metres.
99. I've
Was
got
that what
the
it was?
stat sheet. And again,
And he
he,
come
wa-
off
he
injured
wanted
as well.
to come on, and
Yeah.
but apparently it's just a knock. So
A couple of disciplinary points. Yusuf picked up 1. Laidlaw, with his first involvement in the game,
tackle. Yeah.
picked up a penalty point for late contact. And Knight, from the yellow card, he picked up a grade A 1 penalty point. So,
One yellow.
yeah, you weren't happy with that one.
I
were
wasn't
you?
happy with that one.
No. I've not seen it again to make a comment on it, to be fair.
It's not a big enough talking point to go into, but all I'll say is I don't agree with it.
I'm going to ask you a question. I imagine this will get me so much hate online. I'm not doing
You haven't
this.
said anything to
do-
yet, so I've been waiting for something.
No.
Yeah.
It's well, I'm sure people like what I've said already, but the end of last year and at the start of this year, and in fact several times, you've made a comment about Rovers, and this is where this comes to mind about. At what point does something become mental for us? This when Rovers can't get over that final thing.
You're on about the home
going
games,
to
are you?
semi-final, yeah, going semi-finals, going to finals. You've just surpassed 20 months not winning at home. You now don't have a home game until June because
No, we didn't beat you in 20 months. We're coming up.
July 20th.
Sorry.
By the time our
Yeah.
next home game is, it'll be 11 months.
11 months. Sorry, I know
Yeah.
I got it wrong. Because you're getting the pitch redone. Well, City are
Where
getting
it's
the
getting
pitch
done,
redone.
yeah,
Yeah, they're doing this. They're putting safe standing in.
Honestly, is that a worry for you guys? At what point does that become mental?
It's not for me. We picked up the point against Lee, which was
Hard
what
fought.
it was. And then the other games we played, you and Wigan at home. We played the top 2 at home. The top 3 at home are the only teams we've played at home. Ask me again after we've played the likes. Just unfortunately, the fixtures have dropped. They've dropped. Ask me again after we've played the likes of Cass, Huddersfield at home, and if we're in the same position, then it becomes a mental thing for me. But not yet.
I like the idea, and I'd like your input as well, Jimmy, but I like the idea of that because you're focusing on this season. We've said so often about getting rid of last season.
I ain't bothered what's gone on. Like with
That's
the
the right
losses with you
attitude.
guys at our place, and we haven't beat you or we haven't scored in certain whatever it was. I really don't care what happened a year or 2 years ago. This is brand new for us. Yeah, stats are stats, and you're going to look at it for a little dig because why wouldn't you? We do the same, but
You'd have to. We always win at the KC.
exactly my point. But no, ask me again in a couple of months when we played a couple of other teams at home.
No, good fair answer. I completely agree with you. I was curious to get your insights
Who is
on
our
it.
next home game?
Oh, we out at home for a while. I don't think.
Yeah, we got Magic, Leeds
Leeds
away.
away, week off.
Well,
Leeds
yeah,
away.
Magic week off, Leeds away. Yeah.
I'm wrong, aren't I? Because this Sunday will be a home game for you.
Newcastle.
I hate you.
Newcastle, Gateshead, just on the outside, isn't it?
I hate you.
I was more on about the black and white city, but there you go.
There's reasons why we get comments on YouTube saying I got 42 minutes and turned it off because that red and white in the middle is unbearable.
Oh, you're telling
Cass
me
at home.
you're
Cass
telling
at
me a
fans.
Hull fan left after 42 minutes? That's hardly shocking, is it?
Come on, we're done.
God. I know where he lives if you want to know. Like,
You won't listen this long to find out.
what are you doing?
He did give you a thumbs
Have you
up and you
actually
weren't
put it
looking.
on? No, because it'll run and you won't be behind. All right, well, go on then. Okay, come to tribal. End of story. No, Magic Weekend this weekend. They're showing all the games. I'm not going to run through the fixtures because I don't know them off the top of my head. But if you're interested in rugby league and you're not going to Newcastle, get your backside here. Amy will give you some free drinks. You're not in? No. Okay. And then 4 for me. So it kind of clashes with Magic, but it kind of work. I think they've got another sundowner. So you've got music outside, you've got DJ outside, Clubland on the night. It's a good event last time I came in for a coffee because I'm old.
Retro.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
it's
it's
a
a good event.
and has a
I
coffee.
weren't Clubland when I came, but anyway, it's still on. And don't forget to bring your season pass. If you're not going and you're a season pass holder, get your 15% off.
As long as you book.
As long as you book, yeah. Oh, okay. Don't have to book, but it's got to be food and drink. Is that about it? Yeah. Good. There we go. Thumbs up.
That was a very enthusiastic thumbs up, Susan.
It was very
His
enthusiastic.
shoulder nearly fell out.
What's next, Susan? 5 minutes talking about magic. Just spent 5 minutes talking about magic. Come to tribal. Oh, no, it's all right. We'll do magic.
You guys on Saturday for your training
you got?
exercise?
I'm
You got
not there.
Salford?
Salford,
Oh,
yeah.
God.
I'm not there. So
not going?
Unfortunately, no. It's my cousin's decided to get married.
And sounds like your
Send me an
cousin's
invite
problem.
and can't say no.
We can.
Can't.
We missed a cousin's wedding for a game of rugby that we got beat about 70-0 in,
I
didn't
don't
we?
think I've been to a cousin's wedding because of rugby, and we've got a big family.
A massive, stupid. Like
I know
20
why they've done it for the Saturday, because I'll play the Sunday and my uncle's an old fan and he listens. So, Uncle Phil, it's your fault.
Yeah.
I don't think he cares.
No, he probably doesn't.
Probably don't.
Wait, you got an uncle called Uncle Phil?
I have.
What
Is he a judge?
No.
What do you think then? Are you resting players, or are you just
I think we'll rest a
because
couple.
of the semi-final and because it's Salford, or
I think
Kershaw
we'll rest a
might get a
couple,
game.
but maybe not in key positions. I don't think you'll see maybe like a Mikey Lewis or a Tyrone May being rested, but you might see somebody like a Doro get a game. Or
Yeah, Peters has made comments about a few of the players that are close. You know, Doro being a prime example of someone that's very close to being able to play consistently in a Super League setup. But again, it's always harder when the team's challenging at the top. So you've got to bed them in a little bit slower, unless they're absolute freaks like Ntemba and you can bring them in. Obviously, Morg can't play in the game next week
So he's
because
gonna
he's
play
cup tied. So
definitely,
we've
isn't he?
definitely got first choice fullback. So that's nice. There's no choice there. Probably gives us a bit of flexibility in what else we do. We know Burgess will be back, from his HIA, so he'll probably get some reps. Maybe there's a chance to have somebody like Kershaw on the bench, and Budgie can only do a half or a few minutes, I don't know, but I expect maybe 10 or 11 of the starting 13 would be what we'd normally see. Maybe a couple of extra spots on the bench might be different, but I don't expect anything major different. It's hard, but we've still got to think in the grand scheme of things. Yes, we've got a semi-final to play in a week's time, but we also have the full season to consider, and you don't want this to be a potential banana skin.
I don't think it will be.
No, I don't, and
I
I
really
don't want to be disrespectful to Salford, but Wobert's
looks like
the
they're on the
man.
verge of losing another key player as well,
so
don't
they
they,
just
today?
lost Dion Cross last week, didn't they?
Looks
St.
like
Helens.
Atkins off to Castleford as well.
Atkins
so,
gone, Watkins
yeah.
has gone.
But it is
so
rugby league, and stranger things have happened.
That's
and
true.
you only have to look at last year. You guys beat Wigan at home, right?
That's a fair point.
Which made the entire thing so much more exciting for us versus Wigan going to the end of the season, right? And nobody expected that. And all the credit to you guys on that day for what you did. But that was a banana skin for them that wasn't expected. And I'm not saying that's
we
the
didn't
same
even
position,
expect it.
but Salford are in a really bad shape. They're obviously losing players left, right, and centre. But you can't just turn up and expect to win a game of rugby league.
No, definitely not.
we've still got to go out and do what we've been doing and sticking to our game plans and not
keep being
not
professional.
deviating. Yeah, absolutely. And I'd like to think that Peters has instilled that in us over what we've seen over the past couple of seasons. So hopefully should come away with a comfortable win. But I'm saying hopefully because I'm pessimistic. You guys?
I'm not going to say that it'll be comfortable, but we should come away with a win.
Can I say I'm a bit worried about this one?
You can say that if you want.
I've spoken to a few Hull fans who have said
Just
they're
the
a bit
way we
worried.
finished the game yesterday. Well, the way the whole game panned out for us. Like I've said it a few times now, how fatigued we look, and we are screaming for a week off or two, and I'm glad we've got Huddersfield and not Rovers, a Lee, a Warrington, but still I'm
It's the second
I'm
best draw
still
we could have had.
concerned.
The only team that I would have preferred to have played would have been Salford, but even then, I still expect us to be turning Huddersfield over it. The way that we're playing, the way that we're going about things this season. I just think a loss to Huddersfield might be arrogant to say it. It's unacceptable.
There's always a couple of results at Magic though, which you don't expect. They always seem to throw up a few results at the Magic weekend. I hope to God it's definitely not us, but I am worried. They're going to win at some point. They're going to win a game, and they could be targeting this. They might have their tails up after watching how we played yesterday. Oh, we can get all here. They might be a bit tired if we stick in the arm wrestle for the first 20-30 minutes. So I think we will, but yeah.
I think it's very fair what you're saying. It's the normal attitude to have. It's still rugby. Anything can happen. Huddersfield aren't a great side.
No.
Having said that, they have been building. They're showing flashes of what they can do. They have got some players. It seems to be a lot of what they do at the minute is flashes of brilliance from individuals rather than playing as a cohesive unit. If they clicked, it could be a different story. You still have players out of position, like you've said, fatigued. Luckily, and I think, yeah, it's a good way you've looked at it, Jimmy, that, you know, the only team you'd rather play instead was maybe Salford, but Huddersfield, so they're down there in the doldrums as well. Luckily, you do have the week after off as well, and this isn't a dig about it being the semi-final. What I mean is, you are going to get that break. You are going to get that enforced 2 weeks off that's going to bring you back to your next game, and then you're going to turn around and hopefully have some bodies back, and if the Huddersfield game isn't too testing and you come away unscathed, hopefully that might be a nice big step for you. So
well, that's the thing, like, after this, we've got the 2 weeks off, which I don't know about the team, but I'm ready for a week off anyway.
It's been a roller
hopefully we might have
already, hasn't it?
It's not been confirmed by the club, but looking at the timescales that was given, Fash might be back, and I'm not Fash's biggest fan, but it's an out and out second rower. Lane was 6 to 8 weeks, so he's going to be around that 6 weeks at that point. I don't know how far Jed's off.
What's he back this week?
Watsy, I don't know, nothing. We haven't heard nothing yet as a point of recording. We've not had any injuries coming back, injured players coming back.
I didn't think I'd say this when we first signed him, but we could really do with him, because
it's just a fresh body, more than anything, which we could do
someone with a bit of experience to go on the bench that's not just going to sit on the bench all game. Which, you know, we did with Laidlaw. I don't think if SAS don't go off injured, Laidlaw don't even come on. And he's done that a few times.
Surprised. I wouldn't have been
He's done that a few times, just basically running with 2 players on the bench. And there's no bloody wonder we're tired. But if you've not got the players on the bench, that players available to go on the bench that are going to make an impact in games like what we've had recently with Warrington, Rovers, Wigan twice, you know, what is better? You know, you're stuck between a rock and a hard place sometimes. Do I put this kid on and potentially disrupt and put that kid under too much stress, or do I do what Cartwright's been doing and just keep the experienced players chicking over? And SAS, he played 25 minutes, didn't he? Came off for 5 minutes and then came on to replace Knight, who'd played 30 minutes. Like, we need experienced bodies to go on the bench, so I think players coming back is going to be massive for us.
Get through this game, get 2 points, hopefully from our point, and hopefully for some fresh bodies, some injuries back, or maybe fresh bodies. We don't know. We know we've got cap space, so yeah.
I agree with
there's talk of us getting more cap space as well.
Well,
you don't have, no, there's nothing to confirm, but there has been talk of Ollie Holmes retiring on medical grounds. Don't know how true it is, but it's Mav that put it on Twitter, and the last couple of times he's put anything on about Ollie's been right, so
we'll see.
It's a shame if it's true.
I was going to say it's a big shame if it's true. I like your assessment of what you've said. I think I'd also be shocked if you don't win that game, but it is still rugby. I've seen some comments online talking about Magic as a whole, saying that there's some quite uninspiring fixtures this year. And I'm sort of looking down the list, and to be fair, there is maybe only a couple of games that really stand out to me. But I think that's actually going to be, hopefully, for rugby league fans and for us watching, that's going to be flipped on its head, because there is always 1 or 2 games that surprise you. It is a neutral ground and strange things happen, and we don't want it to be our teams, but hopefully there are some crazy results.
Our teams are going to be, our games, you would be the games that look at and think, they're the uninspiring games. Like Hull on current form, you would expect him to do a number on Huddersfield. You would be expected to do a big number on Salford. But then you've got Lee and Catalan, who have got a semi-final the week after. So how they're turning up for this game? Then you've got Saints and Leeds, who are Saints not in great form. Leeds a bit of rocks and diamonds at the minute with how they're playing. You got Wigan and Wire on the Saturday. You'd expect Wigan to.
Sunday.
But then you got Cass and Wakey finishing the weekend off. I think that's going to be a cracking game to finish the weekend
Stadium
off.
will be empty by that point.
Right, whether it is or not, I'm more bothered about what's happening.
If you'd
on
have
the
asked me
pitch.
3, 4, 5 weeks ago, I would have said it was 50-50. I would have expected Lee to potentially turn over Catalan, not with ease, but comfortably. So you had 3 games where it was like Lee, Catalan, Rovers, Salford, Hull, Huddersfield, where you're like, they're not going to be very good. And then the other 3, I think throughout the entire season, really, you look at them. Cass and Wakey, you're always going to expect a good game, especially at Magic, ending the week as well. Wigan Wire, that was always going to be a big game. Maybe a bit more in Wigan's favour now with Williams not going to be playing.
Sneed out as well, failed HIA.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Oh, well,
That's what I mean. That's ruined that game as well.
That's potentially ruined that game. And then
Oh, yeah.
Saints and Leeds, I think for the majority of the season, them two have looked about
Saints and Leeds are my game of the round beforehand. That's what I'm backing to be the one to watch.
I'd probably go Castle Wakey just because it's Castle Wakey.
And it was a very close game a couple of weeks ago, that wasn't it? Just a shout out to both our sets of fans. I know Hull announced today they sold 2,700 tickets, which is the most that any team sold. It was announced today that you guys were second as well in that list, so the Hull team's leading the way again. As per usual.
It's very good.
No, new.
Imagine if there was one team.
Imagine if they were playing against each other in Vegas and they'd not done some stupid fixtures like Rovers and Leeds and then Hull versus Saints.
Possibly.
I mean,
don't get him started on this because
Yeah,
he's
it just
proper got his bee in his
winds me up.
bonnet. Right,
I
predictions then.
Jake's already jumping at the bit. I've actually...
Jake's got a good darts game, and he's
he can go. He don't need to stay, does
Masters
he?
darts.
You need to lift up.
I'll get Laura to pick me up or I'll get the bus.
Craig can actually drive. He just never told me. He just cadges lifts every week.
Every week.
Save on petrol. I'd have to.
Right, you're up, Craig.
I am. I did have another shout out, a nice little message just before. It's only brief. Alright mate, just want to say I love watching the Bragging Rights podcast, even though I've only been a new listener since Christmas when you were all on the Robins pod, up the Robins.
Oh, very nice.
That was
Who's
a
that
nice
from?
little message. That's from David Leask.
Okay.
I've known him a long time, grew up on Long Hill with him.
I haven't mentioned it, no.
No,
But so we are doing a giveaway. It's on Instagram and Twitter, but by the time this goes out... Oh, actually, yeah. So we're doing a giveaway on Instagram and Twitter. We've got 3 tickets, 3 tickets. 3 free tickets for the Saturday. So it really mainly appeals to the Rovers fans, unless there's some Hull fans that have got Sunday tickets and think, you know what, I'll go on the Saturday as well.
Or you're a Saints and Leeds fan.
Or a Catalan fan that tunes in.
I hate them all.
Or a Leeds
All
fan.
you
The
have
guy
to do...
from Mozambique.
He's going to...
I don't
lose
really
his
give
mind.
two
I don't
flying.
care what he thinks, she thinks. I don't care.
Anyway,
This is
all
your
you have to
podcast,
do,
James.
go on our Twitter, go on my podcast's Twitter or Instagram or
big-headed sod.
Facebook, and just got to like and I think it's like and share to your story on Instagram and Facebook, or like and retweet if it's Twitter at Bragging Hull, I think, on all 3. So
You
yeah,
set 'em
do
up
that,
well,
and then we'll pick a random winner. Or stop coughing on me
I'm clearing my throat.
that way.
I've done it that way all day.
We'll pick
so
a random
I'll
winner
change.
on Wednesday night, so this should go live on Wednesday morning, so you'll have time to listen to this and go on and do that, and then yeah, we'll announce it on Wednesday night.
Am I up now? Thank
Big
you.
thumbs up. Right, we ain't got much time, so just read them out and get numbers. Susan's got golf.
I can't read my writing. Lee versus Catalan, first game of the round. I've wrote them down as they were on BBC, so if they are the other way around,
It don't matter.
I do apologise. I have gone for Lee by 4. I think it's going to be a really good game.
Agree. I've got Lee by 8 though.
Lee by 10.
Lee by 10.
And Susan has Lee by 8. Second match of the weekend, 5:15, Rovers versus Salford. I'm going out on a limb here. I'm going to say Rovers by 30.
Rovers by 24.
Rovers by 30.
Rovers by 36.
And Susan has Rovers by 20.
Ooh.
Probably the tie of the
Right.
round, as we've already discussed.
Go on. So Leeds and
St Helens versus Leeds.
Yeah, okay.
I've gone for Leeds by 4.
I have just wrote mine. I've said I'd think about the entire podcast, and I've finally decided I've gone Leeds by 6. This was the hardest one to pick for me.
Leeds by 6.
Wow.
Leeds by 10.
And Susan's the odd one out here. He's gone for St Helens by 6.
Oh, that yellow cap's gone to her head.
Don't get started. She'll start telling you it's gold.
All right, sorry.
Chalk and cheese attendance-wise, Huddersfield versus FC.
Yeah, what it'd just be.
I have gone for FC by 18.
I've gone FC by 18.
FC by 10.
I've got FC by 16.
And Susan has FC by 12. So
It's
we're
the
all
first
sort of...
time you backed FC into this season. Yeah, I think so.
definitely, in my eyes, the tie of the Sunday, regardless of the halfback woes for the Primrose and Blue. Wigan versus Warrington. I've gone for Wigan by 14, but I think it'll still be a really good game.
I've got Wigan by 18.
Wigan 8.
Wigan 20.
Ooh, 20. And Susan's got Wigan by 12. Final tie, wrapping up the Magic Weekend. Castleford versus Wakefield. I've gone Wakefield by 14.
Wakey by 10.
I've gone Wakey by 2.
Wakey by 8.
And Susan has Wakefield by 6.
So Susie's the only one with an odd pick.
Yep.
Yeah.
Saints.
Saints
It's all
Leeds.
going to be down to the score. The scores again, then, isn't it?
Oh, I
Like
hope he
it has
falls
been
off
most
his
week.
pedestal. I am so
I know,
looking
I've-
forward to putting him in a cage with pigeons and throwing bed seed at him.
Just lock him in the back of his van. You can't say anything because you're not a part of the production. Is it what? Oh, it's a camper van. Yeah.
Good for him in his camper van. Just to
giving
shout
him the
out
time
before
of
we
day.
finish, we are between the five of us. There's now 3.5 points separating us. So the gap.
I'm still bottom.
The gap was huge. Like I think there was 12 points between top and bottom at some point. a couple of
Admittedly, I've
weeks
been
ago.
a bit of a moron
There was
and
double
not actually
figures.
put some of my predictions on.
So the fact that we are now as close as we are, it's getting interesting.
I did say a while back that after round 10, which will be after this weekend,
after this
we
week,
will
yeah.
do a bit of a fuller update, or Craig will, for like maybe 5 minutes and explain where we all are, and then just a few shout outs to people that are doing
I'll
particularly
do
well.
a thing on screen
Yeah.
so people
So
can
we can
look as
expect
well.
that. If it's not next week, it'll be the week after, but I did say after round 10, so you can expect that coming. But keep playing along because we love, seeing people there, and it has dropped, particularly me and you that started so well. We've sort of dropped a bit down the league, and
Yeah,
now
but
you guys are
mine's
catching
because I
us.
forgot to put them in. Not
Craig,
because...
we don't need your excuses.
Do you know what it is? It's a Thursday night game.
You
But
do get enough reminders off
You
the
get-
app and
you get
an
a reminder
email,
off
mate.
the
I
app
don't have
and
my
an email.
notifications on, and I don't check my
Oh, well,
emails.
that's
So
your
what's the
own fault
point?
then.
Well, that's yeah.
My email's just for signing up for things. I don't use it for anything specific.
What have you been
Dirty
signing up to?
websites.
Can't tell you. I'll tell you, we'd have to delete the podcast. Sorry.
Wow. On that note, we're done. See you, bye.
See you, bye.
See you, bye.
See you. Bye.